In life, there are moments in our relationships with others that are subtle, yet decisive. Moments when you begin to see their hidden intentions, their games and their manipulative tactics, and they immediately sense it. From that point on, the dynamics of the relationship change. The most terrifying moment for toxic people is when you finally know who they really are. Their masks fall away, their lies no longer work, and their games are exposed. Because the truth comes to light. Stoic philosophy teaches us that seeing the truth is liberating. Once you recognize the intentions hidden beneath the masks, deception becomes impossible. But it's important to remember, the reaction of toxic people in these moments can be very different, sometimes even dangerous. They will use any means necessary to protect themselves. In this video, I will explain the 7 typical behaviors that toxic people display when they realize you already know the truth. Understanding these nuances will help you preserve your inner strength and confidently set healthy boundaries in your life. First, we must understand that a toxic person's greatest fear is being exposed. The moment they realize you know the truth, they immediately go on the defensive and, as a first step, try to shift the blame onto you. This is their most commonly used tactic. Shifting responsibility onto the other person is their first typical behavior. Imagine someone has been playing games with you for a long time, manipulating you, making you feel guilty for things you didn't even do. Now you see through all their games. At this point, they resort to a classic move to protect themselves. It's not me who's guilty, it's you. For example, if you catch them lying, their response is often, "You misunderstood me. You're always suspicious." Or actually, "You behave the same way. You're just blaming me." You see, they immediately place the blame on you. Their goal is both to divert attention from themselves and to confuse you. Stoic philosophy offers a profound truth for situations like this. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone speaks falsely about you, remain calm and let your way of life demonstrate the falsehood." In other words, the response is not through shouting or defending yourself, but through calmness. Toxic people often create noise, because noise is the easiest way to hide the truth. The voice of the guilty is always loud. No matter how much they yell or try to make you feel guilty, it is merely a sign of fear. And their fear is this: their games no longer work. The most important factor here is your inner strength. If you fall into their game by shouting or defending yourself, they achieve what they want, because their goal is to provoke an emotional reaction. But if you remain calm, stay true to your truth, and stand firm in your position, the power shifts to you. Think about it. To avoid taking responsibility, a person will contort themselves, beg, yell, create drama. Yet all of this reveals one truth: you have already exposed their game. The Stoics teach us that in such moments our greatest weapon is calmness. With silence and an emotionless stance, it's possible to neutralize their attempts, because a person without emotional reactions cannot be manipulated. So in these situations, ask yourself, should I engage in their game, or should I remain calm and let the truth shine even brighter? The answer is simple. Someone who knows the truth has no need to panic. Remember, a person trying to shift responsibility onto you has already lost. Passing the blame instead of accepting it is a sign of inner weakness, fear, and avoidance of the truth. One of the most common tactics toxic people use is to suddenly appear changed. They sense that you already understand their intentions. At this moment, their defense mechanism kicks in. But instead of raising a fuss or shifting blame, they choose a completely different approach. They suddenly become friendly. This is their second typical behavior. It's as if they transform into another person. They smile, act caring, and try to show understanding. It feels strange, because the person who deceived you for years now seems like a long-time loyal friend. For example, someone who never showed interest in you for years suddenly sends a message. "You are such a special person. I realize your worth now." Or someone who constantly criticizes you suddenly starts supporting all your decisions. Behind all of this, however, lies fear. They know their mask has fallen, and now it's time to wear a new one. a mask of kindness. Stoic philosophy teaches us that no mask can deceive a person who sees the truth. Once we perceive intentions, we also see the hidden purpose behind words and actions. Marcus Aurelius said, "To judge a person's character, look not at their words but at their repeated behavior." This is a vital lesson. A person can appear suddenly kind, but their past actions reveal the truth. If they have harmed you for years, sudden kindness is just another game. The Stoics said, "Do not be deceived by appearances. Judge by repeated actions." Here, what is required of you is simply vigilance. Stay calm, don't be fooled by smiles, and don't let flattering words mislead you. True kindness is proven over time. False kindness appears suddenly and disappears just as quickly. Toxic people use this tactic because they know that open aggression would push you away. Instead, they do the opposite. They feign care to draw you closer. But remember, the intent behind this care is often manipulation. In such cases, the Stoic approach is to observe. Never trust immediately, but don't act hostile either. Just stay calm, watch their actions, and compare their words to their deeds. If the kindness is genuine, it will be consistent. If it is false, it will soon be revealed. False kindness is just a game to buy time. Your power lies in seeing the truth. As the Stoics taught, eyes that see the truth are never deceived. Another common weapon of toxic people is to discredit you in the eyes of others. You have seen through their games and uncovered their masks, which scares them. They know that if you speak the truth, their lies may also be exposed to those around them. So they act first, spreading lies about you. This is their third typical behavior. They project onto you what is actually true of them, a psychological tactic called projection. For example, they may say about you, "They have a problematic personality. They are suspicious of everything," or "They hurt me," but pretend to be good. The goal is always the same: to damage your reputation. They understand they can no longer control you directly, so they try to weaken you through others. Stoic philosophy gives us a valuable insight here. Seneca said, "Evil words only soil the speaker's face." No matter how many lies others tell about you, it primarily reveals who they are. People who constantly talk about others are actually emptying their own lives. The most important point: reacting angrily and going on the defensive makes you appear weak, exactly what toxic people want. They hope you will lose your calm and respond with anger, confirming the scenario they are trying to create. The strongest response is calmness. Your life, your actions, and your daily choices speak for you better than any words. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone speaks badly of you, it is your duty not to refute their words, but to contradict them through your life." If your life embodies honesty, sincerity, and tranquility, the lies others invent will soon lose their power. People cannot be fooled for long. Words can mislead, but actions cannot hide the truth. Moreover, a toxic person's attempt to lie shows their weakness. A strong person has no need for such deception. The strong trust the truth. The weak and fearful, however, constantly rely on other faces, words, and games to hide it. In these situations, the Stoic approach is focus on actions, not words. If your life is on the right path and your deeds are pure, the lies others tell will be nothing but empty noise. If someone lies about you, consider it a compliment. They already know your truth is stronger than their lies. Sometimes a moment comes when all masks finally fall. The toxic person knows that you have fully seen their games, intentions, and hidden plans. At this point, they no longer feel the need to hide. Their true face emerges, and it is often filled with aggression, anger, and rage. This is their fourth typical behavior. Why does this happen? Because inside they feel fear. Fear often manifests as anger. When the truth that someone tries to hide is revealed, they either remain silent or explode in anger. Toxic people usually choose the second path. They believe that by showing aggression, they can intimidate you. For example, you calmly state a truth. Your words and actions don't match. Their reaction is often shouting, making angry gestures, or even insulting you. Their goal here is simply to silence you. They refuse to accept the truth because it marks the end of their games. Stoic philosophy, however, teaches a completely different approach. Epictetus said, "It is not the events that disturb you, but your reaction to them." In other words, even if the other person is aggressive, your calmness neutralizes their power. Their main goal is to pull you into their emotional level. If you get angry, they have already won. Imagine a person shouting, insulting, and losing their temper in front of you, while you remain completely calm. Your calmness will frustrate them even more, because they are not getting the reaction they expected. In the end, they will either fall silent or appear weak. For the Stoics, silence was a powerful weapon. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best answer is to preserve your tranquility." Aggression does not change the truth. It confirms it. If someone becomes aggressive, it is a clear sign of fear within them. The key here is your inner strength. The calmer you remain, the less their aggression affects you. On the contrary, your calmness will break them, because their greatest weapon is your reaction. Deny them that reaction and their game collapses. Remaining calm in the face of aggression is not weakness. On the contrary, it is a sign of the greatest strength. A strong person masters their emotions. Toxic people act on impulse, but you respond with reason and composure, and this frightens them. Remember, aggression is just a veil. They are angry because they are weak inside. A person who knows the truth has no reason to fear. As the Stoics taught, calmness is the most effective response. The fifth common behavior of toxic people is playing the victim. They realize you have seen the truth. Their masks are gone and their games are exposed. At this point, they choose a new tactic, appearing pitiful. You might hear phrases like, "You misunderstand me," "I only wanted to be kind," or "I never intended to hurt you." These words are meant to make you feel guilty. They know that many people soften emotionally toward someone who appears pitiful. Their goal is simply to distract attention from the truth. They refuse to accept responsibility and try to shift it away from themselves. If you think, "Maybe I really was too harsh," you have already fallen into their manipulation. Stoic philosophy teaches a different lesson. Epictetus said, "It is not events, but your thoughts about them that disturb you." By believing in their victim act, you deceive yourself with your own thoughts. In reality, it is just a game, a mask. Why do toxic people choose the victim role? Because appearing calm and strong comes at a cost. The easier path is to appear pitiful. People are more likely to believe someone who seems helpless, making this tactic convenient for them. But remember, victimhood is a role, not the reality. For instance, someone who has consistently hurt you might suddenly say, "My life is hard too. No one understands me, and now you're attacking me." With this, they make you feel guilty while portraying themselves as justified. If you respond emotionally, you have already fallen into their trap. The Stoic approach is simple. Do not give in to emotions, and do not forget the truth. If a person's actions have harmed you for a long time, suddenly appearing pitiful does not change the truth. Marcus Aurelius said, "Look at deeds, not words. If the deeds are harmful, the words are just a facade." Therefore, the best course of action in these situations is to remain calm and refuse to feel guilty. You already know this is manipulation. You are merely an observer, watching the theatrical performance they are staging. But the play cannot convince you. Most importantly, being a true victim is different from playing the victim. A true victim does not hide the truth, but a manipulator uses the victim role to conceal it. As the Stoics taught, no role can confuse someone who sees the truth. The sixth typical behavior is that toxic people, once exposed, start distancing themselves from you. Yes, they can wear masks and deceive those around them for a long time. But one day comes when you see the truth. Your gaze, your silence, and your calm composure reveal their game. At that point, they choose a new tactic, withdrawing from you. If you no longer respond to their manipulations, do not believe their lies, and are not fooled by their victim act. They feel powerless. All these games had one purpose: to control you. The moment they can no longer control you, their interest ends, and they begin to withdraw. Sometimes this withdrawal is very obvious. They suddenly cut off contact, no longer want to be around you. Other times it is more subtle. They grow distant, ignore you, or spend time with other people. In both cases, the reason is the same. You are no longer their puppet. Their withdrawal should never bother you. On the contrary, it is one of the best outcomes. Their leaving voluntarily is a form of freedom for you. You are no longer exposed to artificial games, baseless dramas, or lies. By leaving, they give you silence and peace. Yet many people feel mixed emotions in these moments. Why did they withdraw? Was it my fault? Maybe I should have fixed things. These questions occupy your mind. Remember, these questions are meant to pull you back. If you chase after them again, you will fall once more into the cycle of manipulation. The Stoics taught a principle: live in accordance with the flow of nature. If someone leaves your life, it is nature's decision. You simply accept it. A person who leaves was not meant to stay. And keeping someone with ill intentions who constantly harms you would only make life harder. The Stoics said, "Do not cling to those who do not want to be with you, and do not hold back those who wish to leave. Everything that needs to remain in life will stay on its own. Those who do not want to stay will leave anyway. So when someone withdraws, do not fear or grieve. Instead, be grateful. Their departure clears your path. Your energy will no longer be wasted, and your life will feel lighter." The seventh typical behavior is that they seek hidden ways to influence you again. One of the most dangerous behaviors of toxic people is trying to return not openly, but secretly. You have already seen their mask, understood their games, and strengthened yourself against manipulation. They cannot accept this. Such people cannot live without controlling others and exerting power. So even if they do not approach directly, they try to affect your life indirectly. These hidden attempts can take many forms. For example, they may try to send messages through mutual acquaintances. It seems like they are not coming back directly, but they are trying to enter your sphere. Sometimes they watch you on social media, comment, or subtly discuss you to draw attention back to themselves. The goal is simple: to confuse your thoughts again, weaken your boundaries, and pull you back into the old game. In such moments, the greatest weapon is clear boundaries. Stoic philosophy teaches that inner peace is maintained only with healthy limits. If you can say, "I do not allow crossing this line," then you are strong. All the power of toxic people comes from weak boundaries. They can only return if you allow it. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone's actions disturb you, remember that without your consent, they cannot harm you." This is profound wisdom. No matter how hard toxic people try, without your permission, they cannot enter your inner world. Of course, hidden attempts can trigger emotional reactions. Why are they approaching again? Maybe they've changed. Maybe this time it will be different. These questions confuse your mind. But remember, a person who has not changed does not suddenly change. Their attempt to return is not genuine intent, it is just a new mask. The Stoic approach is simple. Focus on outcomes, not intentions. If someone has harmed you before and revealed their true self, the result will be the same if they attempt to come back. You only need to remember this fact. Do not be fooled by the illusions brought by emotions. Imagine someone who has repeatedly deceived you and played with your trust. You have already seen their intentions. Yet, after some time, through a mutual friend, they send greetings saying, "I misunderstood you before." This is not sincere repentance. It is merely an attempt to find a new path. If you open this door again, the same events will repeat. Therefore, the healthiest approach is to protect your boundaries with calmness, yet with firmness. Do not respond, do not restore the connection, and indirectly ignore their noise. True power lies in controlling your attention. Stoic philosophy teaches us, do not turn the weapon of the one who seeks to enslave you against yourself. In other words, if someone tried to exploit your weakness, close that door. Their hidden attempts will fail, and eventually they will withdraw completely. Your inner peace is the most important thing, and maintaining it requires clear boundaries. Falling for the secret games of toxic people only disrupts that peace. Finally, let me say this. Seeing the games of toxic people is not frightening. In fact, it is the first step toward freedom. You are no longer deceived. You are no longer a pawn in someone else's game. You have reclaimed your power. Remember, everyone's mask eventually falls. Once you see their true face, the choice is yours. Either return to the old game and drain yourself, or quietly continue on your path and preserve your inner strength. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the greatest victory in life is not changing others, but protecting our own tranquility. Do not be confused by the reactions of toxic people. Their attempts to shift responsibility onto you, display false kindness, spread lies about you, become aggressive, play the victim, withdraw, or try to influence you secretly. All of these prove one truth. You already see their game, and this is their greatest fear. Most importantly, protect your self-worth. As long as you know your value, no one can manipulate you. The stronger your boundaries, the greater your inner peace. And as long as you remain calm, their noise becomes powerless. Life teaches you a lesson. When you see someone's mask, do not be afraid. It is not a loss, it is freedom. Seeing the true face of others helps you choose your path more clearly. If the ideas in this video were useful to you, do not forget to show your support. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends, and most importantly, turn on notifications so you don't miss new videos. Your support is our greatest motivation. See you in the next video.